Good evening, everyone, and thanks for tuning in to a very special edition of 270 Center. I'm your host, Keegan Fong, and if you're just now joining us, we have been providing non-stop coverage of the absolutely shocking events taking place across the 270 Live world this evening. Starting off with the events that happened tonight in the Rose Bowl, this was the highly anticipated matchup between number 2 seed Ryan Martinez and number 7 seed Tyler Tan. This match, however, ended in immense controversy when halfway through the game, Tyler Tan resigned, shocking fans, commentators, and players alike. We've been covering the fallout from that groundbreaking event, and we're going to take you live to interview the man who was commentating the match himself, Keegan Fong. Hey, Keegan, good evening. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me on, Keegan.
Now, walk us through what happened. What was your sense of what occurred and your reaction to Tyler resigning?
Well, I'm sitting here in my hotel room here in Pasadena a couple hours after the match, and I gotta admit, I'm sitting here still just absolutely gobsmacked at what I just saw. This was supposed to be a real heavyweight bout, a fight between teacher and student. And there had been a ton of trash talk happening between the two sides prior to the match. This rivalry runs deep, dating all the way back to their days growing up together in Oklahoma. And so, people were going into this match with some real expectations. Would this be possibly one of the best matches of the tournament? Certainly, it was supposed to be the best match of the first round. And I've seen a lot in my days as both a commentator and as a player, but it was just shocking to see when just coming out of turn 11, Tyler resigns on the spot. He just says it out loud into the mic for everyone to hear, and he just gives up. He says he wants to resign with dignity. If we're being honest, it was probably anything but dignified. And I gotta admit, I was stunned in the commentary booth. I know every single person watching was stunned. We've never seen anything like that in the history of 270 Live. I think Ryan, on the other hand, was more than happy to take the win, but I think I just speak for everyone when I say it was such an incredibly disappointing thing to see. And, I feel so bad for the tens of thousands of people who came out to the Rose Bowl, packed out the stadium, and walked away after seeing just an absolute farce from Tyler Tan.
Was Tyler even down that much that it justified a resignation?
What's crazy is Tyler was definitely on the back foot. But it's not like he was even completely out of it. I've seen worse. We've seen Bray Rand play 270 before. There was definitely some weird things going on. Ryan was Reagan, Tyler was Trump, so definitely some unconventional dynamics with the two Republican matchup, but we've seen crazier. Ryan had gone national groups. Tyler had gotten a solid footing in the Old South at the start. And, Tyler had definitely lost some ground. He was definitely... It was starting to slip away from him a little bit, but man, you don't give up like that, especially at such a prestigious event like this, at such a prestigious location. I just don't get it.
Do you think Tyler should be punished for these actions?
I definitely do, just from a personal opinion. Although I will say that's a decision to be made by the Executive Tournament Committee, and I fully trust that they'll come down with a fair decision. I'll leave that to them, but just in my opinion, I don't think he should be allowed to continue, and frankly, I think there needs to be some questions about the people who vouched for him. I know it might be a conflict of interest for Committee Chair Martinez to be involved in the decision-making here, but like I said again, I'm going to put full faith that the committee will have a fair and reasonable investigation into this, and we'll see what happens. We'll see if Tyler will be continuing in the losers bracket.
Thank you, Keegan. Have a good evening.
Thanks, Keegan. Have a good night.
Now, all of this comes on the heels of a very hectic and chaotic morning across the 270 Live world, as earlier today, the Executive Tournament Committee announced it would be opening an investigation into Shreesh, specifically his playing credentials. Questions were raised following his resounding defeat in the play-in game against Abigail. And for more on this investigation, let's go to our national 270 correspondent, Keegan Fong, who's outside of 270 headquarters. Keegan, take it away.
Well, following Shreesh's lopsided loss in the play-in game,
questions quickly intensified online about whether or not he truly belonged in a tournament of this caliber. Those questions only intensified after the candidate's post-match comments appeared to acknowledge a lack of preparation. In response, Executive Tournament Committee Chairman Keegan Fong announced the committee would be opening an investigation this morning into whether or not Shreesh had falsified portions of his qualifying resume. Specifically, whether or not some of his qualifying matches were played in unsanctioned international events against subpar competition. The committee says this move is about competitive integrity, arguing that qualifications standards exist to protect the legitimacy of the tournament. That said, Shreesh's credentials were reviewed and approved by committee co-chair Ryan Martinez, a key point that the committee is not disputing. The Players Union has pushed back forcefully, labeling the investigation retroactive and reactionary, and stressing that credentials do not suddenly become invalid after a loss. In a statement, the union also dismissed speculation about preparation, stating plainly that, quote, there is no anime clause in the CBA. Union President Keegan Fong said the organization would be opposing any disciplinary action and argued that the league should be focusing on gameplay rather than post-tournament scrutiny.
Strong words there. Thank you, Keegan. We'll continue to monitor the situation. Now, these events have caused shockwaves across the 270 Live World community, and we're receiving reports of dozens of players now dropping out of the Ryan Martinez 270 Academy of which, of course, Tyler Tan and Shreesh were a part of. Sources tell us the withdrawals began earlier this morning and have continued throughout the day, with players citing concerns about vetting, preparation standards, and overall program credibility. The Academy, which has been... Okay, we're just now getting word that Executive Tournament Committee Chairman Keegan Fong is about to speak on both of these investigations. Let's go to him now in the 270 Live headquarters.
Good evening, everyone. As you are aware, the Executive 270 Tournament Committee has recently opened an investigation into the eligibility of two players in the tournament, Shreesh and Tyler Tan. The committee would like to announce that after an extensive review of the information, it has made a decision regarding the status of these two players. Effective immediately, Shreesh is disqualified from the remainder of competition for violations related to tournament qualification standards. The committee found that Shreesh engaged in an extensive campaign of deceit, lying to the tournament about his qualifications, and willingly played in the first matchup, knowing that he was not adequately qualified for such a prestigious event. Shreesh is no longer going to compete in his scheduled matchup at Sacramento in the losers bracket, and we will be imposing a $50,000 fine on the player. In terms of Tyler Tan, Tyler was also subject to investigation following his surprise resignation in the Rose Bowl against Ryan in the first round of the tournament. The committee determined that although the conduct was concerning and disgraceful, Tyler did not explicitly violate any rules, and he will be allowed to continue in the tournament. He is now scheduled to place Steven in the Salt Lake City matchup in the losers bracket. The committee would like to stress that this was a difficult decision to make and should not be taken lightly. The committee evaluated all available information and engaged in an intense debate over the merits of both candidates' cases. The committee will be imposing a fine of $250,000 on Tyler Tan for his conduct detrimental to the league. We would like to express our condolences, and we understand the frustration that these decisions have made on the fans, the players, and the partners of the 270 Live tournament. And the committee recognizes that these events may have exposed areas where policy change is needed. The committee will work as hard as possible to address these changes and ensure that such occurrences never happen again. Thank you. We will not be taking any questions tonight.
Well, there you have it, folks. Absolutely shocking news. Shrish is out, Tyler survives, and the tournament moves on. We know this has been an absolutely exciting and drama-filled day in the 270 Live world, and we will be continuing to provide you the best coverage and breaking news as it happens. Stick around, folks. We're going to take a quick break, but coming up after a short word from our sponsors, we'll be interviewing some angry Shrish fans outside of Sacramento and previewing the exciting showdown between Riley and Keegan in the next round. You won't want to miss it.
Resilience, dedication, discipline. At the Keegan 270 Academy, we train the next champions of the 270 world. Join us today as